Now you can hear me? Alright, on mine all it shows is a rotating blank screen. So that's awesome. Alright, so assuming you can hear me, I don't have my regular computer. I know it's facing me. I know you're going to have to stare at my ugly face for tonight. I'm on my laptop due to some packing that we're doing around the house, so I do not have my regular computer. So I'm just going to have to deal with it for tonight. I'll show you my dog at the end of it. How about that? We'll compromise there. She'll want to come down and say hi anyways. So, anyways. Here, come here, Zelda. Oh, there. Now everybody can see you instead of me. So, this is a harder test. I want to get that out first and foremost. It's going to be difficult, so don't get upset if you don't do as well. You know, it's just a harder test because there's a lot more to remember. Okay, she wants to lay me out. So let's go through the principles first. Unfortunately, I don't have any graphics or anything, so I'm just going to go over keywords to remember for each one. So with democracy, it's pretty simple. We're looking at people rule. Okay, so that's really the phrase you're going for. You're looking for the terminology where if it shows you like it's asking for your principle and it's talking about how the people have the power, that's pretty much democracy every time. Limited government. You're looking for where the government can't just do whatever the heck they feel like it. Remember, not all powerful being a key phrase, but they're not always going to have that exact phrase. It may reward it to say the government has only the power that people give it to them. That's just a fancy way of saying that the government just can't do whatever the heck they like. So keep that in mind for that one. Representative government, you're looking for something about congressmen, elected officials, somebody there who is representing you. That's what you're looking for, is where it says we elect somebody to go do a job for us, to go vote for us. Consent of the governed. That's the one where it's like the exchange, if you remember. Think of your parents' consent for when they do a field trip. And yes, I know I move my hands a lot too. Now that I pointed it out, you're really going to notice it. So, consent of the government. We give the government permission to rule over us, and in return, we get an army, we get roads, we get policemen, fire trucks, all that kind of stuff. We pay our taxes, and in return, we get these services. That's the deal. That's kind of the trade-off. We are giving them permission to govern us because we're the source of government power. And in return, they provide services and basic protections for us. I'm going over everything for the test right now, yes. Remember, the test is not going to be on the preamble. It's just going to be on the principles, and it's going to be on the documents. So that's it. Don't worry about knowing the preamble or any of that stuff, okay? Let's see what else. And then the last principle, so we did consent, democracy, representative, limited, rule of law. Rule of law is just saying, whether you're a bum, the president, a celebrity, or a kid, or just me. Everybody would face the same punishment. If we all stole a candy bar from the store, we're all supposed to get the same exact punishment. Okay? Now, that's the idea. We know that in the real world that is not exactly how it always works. We see celebrities sometimes buy their way out of trouble or whatnot. But the idea of rule of law, the principle, maybe this is what our country was supposed to be founded on. I'm not saying that it's exactly how it's always worked out. Is that everybody should be treated equally when it comes to the law. Everybody is subject to the law. Nobody is above it. So that's what rule of law is. I would also highly advise the tactic for this test, if you have been struggling, is to these keywords things. Like I told you, limited government, not all powerful, democracy, people rule. You can have that blank sheet of paper out, scratch paper, and as soon as I say you guys can start the test, you can write all this stuff down, so that way maybe you're not having to memorize it or trying to remember perfectly everything we said in class. That would be a tip I would use for this test. Documents. Alright, so 3 easy ones, I think. I think they're a piece of cake. Or 4, I guess I should say. The easiest one, the Virginia Statute of Religious Freedom, was the first document to say religious freedom. Please don't miss that on the test. I really don't know what else to tell you. Like, it says it in the title. Somebody will miss it. I have that feeling. Please don't. So anyways, Virginia Statute of Religious Freedom. Talked about religious freedom. Virginia Declaration of Rights. Think of rights. Rights was a model for the Bill of Rights. Virginia Declaration of Rights. Model for the Bill of Rights. 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 There's your connecting. Rights. Rights. That's how you can connect it in your head. That's the clue I would write down in my piece of paper for scratch paper. The last one, another easy one I think, is for the Virginia Charters Company of London. It's like gave the colonists the same rights as Englishmen. The capital of England, London. Now we have to be careful with that because now this year they added the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta deals with Englishmen as well and could include it in their definition. But the trick to Magna Carta is looking for the word king. Because if you remember from that little video we watched, and when we talked about it, the barons basically forced the king to agree to this deal, saying like, hey king, you can't do whatever you feel like doing. So that is the only document where you're going to see the name, the word king mentioned, aside from the Declaration. I don't think you would mix that one up. So to backtrack on the easy documents, I'm looking for king for Magna Carta. Alright, barons force the king to agree, saying you got to follow a certain amount of rules. For Virginia Charters Company of London, I'm looking for Englishmen, same rights as Englishmen, Englishmen, London type deal. For Statute of Religious Freedom, deal with religious freedom. Again, please don't miss that. Virginia Declaration of Rights, not Virginia, and then that was a model for the Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights is another easy one. It's just the first 10 amendments. There's only so much questions I can ask about that. It contains our freedoms. We've gone over a little bit. We'll get into that. We'll see them on display more and more throughout the whole year. All right, so the three that people mix up: Articles, Constitution, and Declaration. All right, if you did your study guide, that would have been nice for me to take one home had I been at school today. Could have brought one home and at least had that on the camera. So if you did your study guide, you notice I did a lot of work with the articles and comparing them and all that kind of stuff today. So the one that was complete failure, Articles. But they're not going to really ever say complete failure. I can say that because that's what it was. But they won't say that in the history books. What they're going to say was it had a weak central government and the states had all the power. So what you're really looking for is when a document's a failure, they don't say failure. They're going to say it was weak because it was weak. Didn't do anything. The Articles of Confederation. States had all the power. National government had none. National government couldn't tax. They couldn't declare war. It had to be a unanimous vote. Again, the only thing they did that was any good was basically they got the post office. The Pony Express started. So just keep that in mind. What else? So the Articles led to the writing of the Constitution. If you remember, during that time period, we were like, French guys, hey, you don't like the British either. Come help take them out. And they're like, no, you guys are going to get your butts kicked. Why should French people die for you? So we're like, wait. Look, scribble. We have our own, version. Here's our document that tells us our government. See, we have a legit government and everything, guys. Help us out. And you can tell it was done in haste because of the problems that we had later on down the road with the Articles and how we couldn't do anything. But we needed it at the time. And because it was written so poorly, it led to the writing of the Constitution. So now we have the Constitution. The main bullet point it's always going to come back to is that it provides the structure of our government. So if you remember when we were doing that scavenger hunt, where we were doing the political cartoons, you had to find things inside the Constitution that matched up with the images. That was you looking up the structure of our government. The president has the right to veto. If you remember that cartoon where it had the axe with the veto for the bill, well, that the president has that power because it says it in the Constitution. We know that how states are added to the Union because in the 4th article it says this is how states are added to the Constitution. We know that it can be amended. 5th article, because that's what it says in the Constitution. So when it says provide the structure, it's just a synonym for framework, for the abilities of all the branches, all that stuff. The Constitution also contains our freedom of religion, because it's got the Bill of Rights in it. So we've already kind of established that. This is the first official law document, supreme law of the land. So nothing can go above the Constitution, but it's the first official law document where it says all people are created equal. Okay, all men, but all people. You get the idea. Another little bullet points it likes to do. It doesn't really ask an exact question about it ever, but it affirms the dignity and worth of all people. That kind of blends in with saying that everybody's equal. I don't know why they have it as a whole separate bullet point, but I'm putting it out there. I don't think there's a question where I go exactly there. 10 and 10, Chase. And then the last one is Declaration of Independence. So remember you guys did the breakup letter where you had to basically pretend you were breaking up with England and you had to include the 4 bullet points. So the first thing was it lists the grievances. Okay? Can anybody type in chat what grievances means again? See if you guys are falling asleep yet for me talking. Since I don't have my fancy computer, I can actually sing the Jeopardy music for you. Do 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 do. Bum 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 bum. Hey, Miriam the Crybaby. Good job. So yes, it means problems. So the Declaration starts saying like England, like, you know, I totally thought we had a good run and everything, but you know, we're just not getting along. I didn't really appreciate you raising the taxes on me. I didn't appreciate you making me quarter troops. And, you know, you're just too clingy. So we're basically listing all of our problems that we have with England. So the next thing is after we list our problems, we got to go, England, it's just not working out. And I just think we need to go our separate ways here. Chase, that works too. Complaints against the king. So the second bullet point was we declared our independence. Go figure, a document called the Declaration of Independence, we declare our independence. Third point, are those unalienable rights. What does unalienable rights mean? What does unalienable mean? Don't make me sing again. I don't want to make your ears bleed. Look at that. Miriam's on fire. So yes, it means that they can't take them away. So everybody has a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, remember TJ was really smart about that because originally John Locke said life, liberty, and property. But TJ, or Thomas Jefferson, was like, I don't know about that because of the whole issue with slavery. Yeah, blame it on your net, Chase. Miriam was just faster. It's okay, Chase. It's okay. Anyways, and then the last bullet point, all rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Here's the first official document, but again, this declaration is not a law document. I mean, it's important, but it's not a law document. And we have the idea that all people are created equal being stated. So those are the clues I would look for and write down, those things we just went over. I will answer any questions you guys got. Otherwise, I'm going to go be a fat kid and eat my dinner. You guys got anything? Who is Butter Gamers? Who's that? I'm curious. And who's Merple Fox? I mean, you don't have to say it. I'm just curious. Magna Carta, a bunch of barons were getting annoyed with the king doing whatever he felt like, raising taxes. Which Dylan? I have a bunch of Dylans. Dylan Tate or Dylan A? But anyways, barons were upset with the king. He kept taking their land and raising taxes. And they're like, he can't do this. So he... Alright, Dylan Tate got it. So they basically marched with... They went to the church, and the church was like, well, what do you want us to do it? And so basically they assembled what they called the army of God and marched on the king and basically said, so we have a list of things we want you to do, and if you don't agree with it, say bye-bye kingdom. So the king agreed. It was the first time that we have like a king, well, not the first time ever, but it was an important moment in history because here we are in a civilized society where they're making the king. He's not all powerful. He just can't do whatever the heck he feels like. Constitutional structure means that's just saying that the Constitution outlines what each branch can do. It outlines how our whole country works and government works. So, for instance, we know that Congress is responsible for making laws because it says so in the Constitution. We know that Congress approves the budget while the president makes the budget because that's what it says happens in the Constitution. And so on and so on. That's all it means. Basically, it's outlining the structure of how our government functions. Any other questions? I guess you'll find out tomorrow, huh, Chase? Any other questions? Okay. Alright, guys. You have a good night.